Your dog isn't broken. But right now, something feels off and you cannot quite name it. Maybe they pace at night. Maybe they've chewed through another piece of furniture. Maybe they bark at absolutely nothing or dig holes that swallow your entire backyard. You've tried training, you've tried toys, you've tried exhaustion, and still the behavior comes back. Here's the thing nobody told you when you brought that dog home. Your dog isn't acting out. They're executing a centuries-old biological program, and they're doing it perfectly. The problem isn't your dog, it's the mismatch. Let us start with something that might change the way you see your dog entirely. Every dog alive today, every single one, was shaped by humans with a specific job in mind. Not a vague job, a precise one. One that demanded particular instincts, particular energy levels, particular ways of interacting with the world. And those instincts didn't disappear when your dog moved into your house. They came with them, packed into their DNA like software that runs whether you want it to or not. And here's where most owners get stuck. They see the behavior, the destruction, the anxiety, the obsessive habits, and they label it as a problem. A flaw, something to fix. But what if the behavior isn't a flaw at all? What if it is a signal? What if your dog is trying to tell you, in the only language they have, that something fundamental is missing? That's what this video is about. Not training tricks, not quick fixes. We're going deeper than that, into the actual psychological architecture of your dog, into why they do what they do, and into what happens when the life you've given them doesn't match the life their genes are demanding. By the end of this, you'll understand your dog in a way that most owners never do. And that understanding, that's where everything starts to shift. So let us get into it. And to do that, we need to go back, way back. For thousands of years, humans selectively bred dogs for function, not aesthetics. Function. They needed dogs that could run livestock across hills for 10 hours without breaking stride. They needed dogs with noses so precise they could track a scent trail that was hours old, through rain, across water. They needed dogs that could sit motionless in freezing cold water, watching a bird fall from the sky and retrieve it without a single tooth mark. They needed dogs that could pull a sled across 100 miles of tundra, guard a flock from wolves, flush game from thick brush, alert to an intruder in total silence. Each of those jobs didn't just require a willing dog. They required a dog whose brain was literally wired differently. And that wiring, that deep biological drive, is what we call breed purpose. It's not personality. It's not preference. It's compulsion. And compulsion doesn't go away just because the job does. Now here's where the modern problem begins. Most dogs today do not have a job. They live in houses, in apartments, in suburbs, with humans who love them deeply but who, through no fault of their own, never received the manual. Nobody sat them down and said, "This dog's ancestors were built to make decisions independently, to cover ground, to problem solve under pressure." And without an outlet for that, here's exactly what's going to happen. So let us talk about what actually happens. Let us talk about drive. Drive is the internal pressure that pushes a dog toward a specific type of behavior. It's not just energy, it is directed energy, purposeful energy. A dog with high herding drive doesn't just want to run. They want to control movement. They want to gather, to direct, to organize. Take that drive and put it in a backyard with nothing to organize and watch what happens. They start herding the kids. They chase the cat. They nip at ankles during family gatherings, not because they are aggressive, because their brain is screaming at them to do the one thing it was built to do. And the only moving targets available are your children and your guests. Same concept applies to dogs bred for scent work. Their olfactory system is not comparable to yours. It's not even in the same category. Where you smell a stew, they smell every individual ingredient, the onion, the garlic, the specific cut of meat, the water source. That nose was engineered over hundreds of years to do a job. And if you do not give it a job, it finds one. It finds the garbage, the neighbor's yard, the gap in the fence. It pulls them down the street so hard your shoulder aches for days. Not because they are being difficult, but because that nose is running a program that says follow the scent until you find the source. They cannot simply choose not to. And then there are the dogs built for endurance. The ones whose ancestors genuinely ran, for hours every single day as a matter of survival and function. You cannot walk that need out of them. A 30-minute walk doesn't touch it. An hour might take the edge off. But what they actually need is sustained, purposeful exertion. And when they do not get it, that energy curls inward. It becomes anxiety, destruction, obsessive behaviors that look bizarre until you understand the biology behind them. Here's what nobody tells you. A tired dog isn't always a fulfilled dog. That distinction matters more than almost anything else in this conversation. Physical exhaustion and psychological fulfillment are not the same thing. You can run a dog into the ground and still come home to a dog that's restless, that's anxious, that cannot settle. Because the body got a workout, but the brain, the specific, purpose-built cognitive machinery, never got to do what it was designed to do. It's like hiring a surgeon and asking them to carry boxes all day. They'd be physically tired, but something essential would still be unmet. So what does fulfillment actually look like? Let us get specific. For dogs with herding instincts, fulfillment often comes through activities that let them make decisions, control movement, and problem solve in real time. Structured fetch with directional changes. Agility courses that require them to read your body language and respond. Tray ball, a sport where dogs push large balls into a goal, was literally designed to channel herding drive into an accessible activity for everyday owners. The point isn't the specific sport. The point is that their brain is engaged in the way it was built to be engaged. For dogs with high scent drive, nose work is often transformative. And I mean that without exaggeration. There are dogs who have gone from destructive, anxious, impossible to settle, to calm, focused, and genuinely content, after their owners introduced structured scent work. Because for the first time, the most powerful sensory organ in their body was being given a legitimate purpose. Even hiding treats around the house and letting your dog hunt for them is a step in this direction. It sounds small. It isn't small. That 15 minutes of sniffing activates the same satisfaction pathways as hours of physical exercise for a dog whose brain is built for scent. For dogs bred for endurance and distance, the ones whose ancestors pulled sleds, ran alongside horses, covered vast terrain, fulfillment often requires activity that has a destination. Not just movement, but movement with a point. Running with you, bikegeering, hiking with a weighted pack, something that mimics the sensation of purposeful travel. These dogs do not just need to go fast, they need to feel like they are getting somewhere. But here's the part of this conversation that most people miss entirely, and it is the part that quietly creates some of the deepest behavioral problems owners face. It's not just about physical drive, it's about cognitive role. Certain dogs were bred not just to do a physical task, but to think, to assess situations independently, to make judgment calls, to be partners, not followers. And when those dogs are put into environments where every decision is made for them, where there's nothing to problem solve, where they are essentially asked to exist passively, something breaks down. Not behaviorally, not at first. Psychologically, you start to see it in their eyes before you see it in their behavior, a restlessness, a searching quality, like they are waiting for a problem that never comes. And then the behavior follows, the escape attempts, the manipulation. Yes, manipulation, because these dogs are smart enough to figure out exactly which behavior gets them what they want. The obsessive fixations that look like they come from nowhere. They're not coming from nowhere. They're coming from a brain that was built to be used and isn't being used. This is why understanding your dog's breed purpose isn't just interesting trivia. It's genuinely the most practical thing you can know about your dog, because it tells you what they need, not what you feel like giving them, not what's convenient, not what worked for your last dog, but what their specific genetic architecture is actually demanding. And here's the reframe that I want you to sit with for a second. When you see the behavior, the chewing, the barking, the bolting, the herding, the digging, the obsessive pacing, Try replacing the word problem with the word signal. Because that's what it is. Your dog is not being bad. Your dog is sending you the most urgent communication they are capable of. I was built for something, and I am not doing it. And I do not know how to tell you except like this. That reframe changes everything. Because the moment you stop trying to suppress the behavior and start trying to understand the need underneath it, you stop fighting your dog and you start working with them. Now, I want to be honest with you about something, because this channel doesn't do you any favors by pretending everything is simple. Fulfilling your dog's breed drive is not always easy. Sometimes it requires a real shift in your lifestyle. Sometimes it means getting up earlier, or dedicating weekend mornings to structured activity, or learning a new skill alongside your dog. Some owners discover that the dog they chose doesn't actually fit the life they have, and that's a hard truth to sit with. But it is a more useful truth than spending years trying to train away behavior that was never a training problem to begin with. The good news, and there is genuinely good news here, is that you do not have to do this perfectly. You do not have to become a professional trainer or build a working farm in your backyard. What you have to do is shift your framing, even a little. Start asking not just what does my dog need today, but what was my dog built to do? And then find ways, even small, imperfect ways, to let them do some version of that thing. Because the transformation that happens when a dog finally gets to exercise their actual drive, it's not subtle, it's not gradual. It happens fast, and it is obvious. The anxiety softens, the destruction stops. The dog that never seemed to settle starts lying down with a sigh that sounds like relief, like something that's been wound tight for a long time finally got to release. That is a dog who has been seen, not managed, seen. And that right there is the relationship most people got a dog hoping for. If this video shifted something for you, even a little, the best thing you can do right now is think about one moment in your dog's day you could change. Not overhaul everything, just one thing. One activity that lets them use the part of their brain they were built to use. Start there. Watch what happens. And if you want to keep going deeper on this stuff, dog psychology, behavior, the real reasons behind what your dog does, stick around, because that's exactly what this channel is built for. Your dog has been trying to tell you something. You're finally starting to listen. Thanks for watching. If you loved this video, scan the QR code on the screen right now to subscribe and join the Pawsome Life family. Give your dog a belly rub for us, and we will see you in the next video.